You know, wisdom is a funny thing. It's a beautiful thing. It is, like Solomon said, it's the greatest treasure you can ever find. So I'm going to bestow a little wisdom. Fear the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. Seek Him with all your heart and all your soul. Seek Him. Just seek Him. Call His name. Seek Him. Right? Seek His face. Seek everything He spoke. Everything. It's why I teach. Read it line upon line. Line upon line. Learn it. Precept upon precept. Precept upon precept. It is the architecture of the spiritual temple that we don't see. Every precept that you learn is a stone in the building of the walls of the temple. And every word He speaks is a part of what goes behind the great veil, right? His words, the power of His existence. The wisdom becomes the mortar that helps put them together, the blocks of the spiritual temple. The wisdom helps bring everything together. As long as you seek Him with all of your heart and all of your soul. The Torah is designed for you to ask Him questions. Not the sages, not the rabbis, not the priests, not preachers, not pastors. It is designed so that if you do the first obedience to Him and read it line upon line, and ask Him every question, He will answer them as you go. And there'll be some questions that will be later. When He took me through 20 years ago, there's many questions I had before Him that He is now answering and giving me the answers to them. He gave me everything I needed as needed. And now, because of the wisdom He had bestowed upon me and blessed me with, and I used the wisdom He gave me wisely, now He is pouring more. And I ask Him to give me the wisdom I need to lead His people, to rule His people the way Solomon asked Him to guide the people. Now when you go through and you start asking, and I always tell you, pull out every word He spoke separately. Every word He spoke. When you have the spirit of wisdom, you end up with questions. And every question He answers causes more questions, and more questions, and more questions. And that's the way it's designed. As long as you're asking Him questions, He's going to give it to you in some form, some way. Perhaps something happens in your life that parallels one of the answers to your questions. Perhaps a vision, a dream, or He'll speak it to you plainly. It just depends. Questions are good. He loves questions. He loves it when you come to Him with questions. But when you go to man for the questions, well, that makes Him jealous. It irritates Him. So take all your questions to Him. When you go through the scriptures trying to find the answers, you don't realize there's someone nudging you to do that, because they don't want you to find Him. That one doesn't want you to know the truth. That one doesn't want you to have eyes to see. That one wants you to have the eyes that you already have. So because I sought him and I was asking him so many questions, there was a question I had before him. And that question caused him to bring me into a vision. Now, I had already learned the ways of the prophets. And it was by accident, quite by accident, that I learned the fast of the prophets and the ways of the prophets. I kind of stumbled onto it in a way. Wisdom led me that way, and I didn't realize that he had given me a great gift of understanding the prophets, because when they were murdered, they didn't give up the secrets of the prophets. That's why we haven't had real prophets in a long time. And the question I put before him was, if you created everything for your glory, everything, evil, wickedness, righteousness, everything, if everything is created for your glory, it was something I wanted to understand, then why is it necessary for things to be destroyed, right? Because it was something we were taught. Why are you going to destroy the earth if you created it for your glory? I couldn't grasp that. I couldn't understand why. Because I understood looking for his glory in everything, but I couldn't find his glory in the destruction of his glory, if that makes sense. So, he took me into his hand, and I was terrified. And he wrapped his hands around me and started pulling me through time and space. And I was terrified. I was so afraid. I was trying to get away. You know, have you ever caught a little mouse or a little bird and they just freak out and you feel their little heart beating and they peck you and bite you and do everything under the sun to get you to let them go? That's how I felt with our living Yahweh. That's exactly how I felt. I was so terrified. So terrified that I stopped the fast of the prophets. I did. I was so terrified at that time. And this is what he showed me. He brought me through time and space, and he showed me like a black hole. And he did this so quick. And there was black stars going in on one side and white stars, you know, I used yellow, but they were white stars on one side, black on the other side. And once they were balanced, a seal came and sealed it, right? And it had something written on it, but he was taking me so fast, I couldn't keep up. And then he brought me through another black hole. And every one of those seals had something written on them. And he brought me through 6. And brought me through this one. And he showed me that this is where we are now. There was slowly white stars. Because when he pulled me through, they were going in real fast. And he brought me to a point and they were going in slow. And he spoke to me and said, this is where we are now. Okay? And I could see the seal preparing to seal it, you know, but it wasn't time to seal. So he said, now I'm going to bring you through and show you where it goes. And the last seal that sealed, he let me read it, and it was peace. And when it sealed, it like fell into, it like dropped into all the others, and there was like sparks and stuff, and I started getting afraid, and they like fell into each other, right? And once they all come together like that, his glory, it was the white, it was so terrifying that I put my hands over my eyes. I closed my eyes. He wrapped his hand around me and protected me, and I could still see his glory, and I was terrified. Terrified. And he helped me to understand that we were at a place and we were getting ready for that seal of peace to seal in its place. And his glory was going to cleanse everything. Everything would be cleansed with his glory. Because once peace seals and his glory does everything, then the new covenant, he will make a new covenant with all that are on the earth, that are left on the earth. And that is why I am coming. That is my purpose, is to lead you to the new covenant. And there's many things you've got to understand before that can come to pass. Father, you are the living hour. Glory unto thee, and all that you give me, O living hour, to teach your people. I praise you, Father. All that love you with all of their hearts, Father. I glorify you from everlasting to everlasting. Praise you, O living Yahweh.